fiber is the bread and butter.
A lot of vegetables which are high water content, squash, pumpkins, bottle gourd, these are all vegetables that have a lot of water content. So they, along with moong, the gut should be protected. Protect your gut, okay? Feed your gut, protect your gut. For the past 100 years, you have heard eat more fruits and vegetables, eat more fruits and vegetables. I will always insist start your morning with ghee water, end your night with ghee water. Just go to YouTube and type protein deficiency in India. You will get at least 50 videos that say that the primary homemaker, the wife, the mother, they don't even understand the concept of protein. The one thing that works beautifully in my practice to heal gut, bone broth. We know that if there is no adequate protein, there is sarcopenia, there is bone density loss. The mortality in older people is once they fall, they are unable to get up. You may do well with a chole chaat at home, but a chole bhatura outside may be a problem. Because the eating habit is so poor. We discussed, right? Lots of ordering, lots of Maggie cooking, can't exercise. It's okay, your kid is going to school. Then you have about half an hour. Instead of scrolling the phone, can you just walk around a little bit? A lot of influencers, dietitians on social media are talking about this, what is this genome mapping?
What the heck is that? Hello guys, welcome to another episode of our podcast series, Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal. We have Ms. Sangeetha Aiyer again. We had a wonderful discussion in the last episode. We decided to do another episode going deep into the nutrition aspect, given the nuances that we discussed on the previous episode. And I absolutely enjoyed this episode. We discussed about the most important criteria of the gut, which is fiber. What is the practical problems in Indian community in taking fiber? What are the possible options that we could do to increase the fiber intake? And is really fiber is important or protein is important? If you are a vegetarian, should you focus on the fiber or on the protein? It was wonderful discussion that we did. More importantly, we really went deep into the molecular level of why any non-communicable disease is happening. For example, diabetes, hypertension, all these diseases should start somewhere, and we figured out what is that particular thing at a molecular level and what is the final solution for it as well. I'm sure this is a lot of information. It could be technical at some times, and if you can follow through the whole conversation, I'm pretty sure you'll understand the context. Please stay till the end to understand the whole concept so that you will understand the overall clinical picture. Anyways, I'm so excited for this episode. Let's dive deep into it. Hi again, Sangeetha.
Hi, Dr. Pal.
So good to talk to you again. We had
you.
a wonderful episode. We
Yeah.
talked about a lot.
Yeah,
We talked about a lot. It was a wonderful discussion.
absolutely. Likewise.
It was a wonderful discussion.
I think the learnings from your clinical practice, the medical side of things, the nutrition side, the symptomatic side of things, I think it was a great
It was a great discussion. I hope
episode.
audience learned a little
Yeah.
bit, including me. I learned a lot from you.
Same here.
So in this episode, I want to focus on my favorite topic.
Which is?
Okay, fiber.
Okay.
Okay.
Why did I even ask?
Which might not be your favorite.
I fall on both sides
You
of
fall
the
on both
fence.
sides of it,
This
yeah.
is my experience, but yeah, we'll discuss it.
So, first of all, right off the bat, I'll start with a clinical scenario similar to how we talked about. So, being a gastroenterologist, all I see in the OPD is bloating, pain. But one of the most common thing is constipation.
I would agree.
Most common thing is constipation. It is not the diarrhea. We also see diarrhea as well. But the most common thing is constipation. It is tied down to a previous discussion of slow intestinal motility.
Mobility. Yes.
Okay,
motility.
it's called, most of the times it is slow transit GI motility. And we talked about this, that brain-gut axis is
Correct.
there. There's a connection from the brain to the gut. And the brain should send signals to the gut. Gut should send signals to the brain so that let's say you eat bhaji or bonda or something, it gets digested, goes to the next place. When this connection is weak,
Broken or weak.
weak, then the motility is not there. Then that's where the constipation is. One of the biggest treatment option that we have as gastroenterologists is fiber. And the reason for fiber is that fiber increases the colonic motility, number one. And it also absorbs water as well and increases the colonic water retention. And it helps to excavate the bowel. I'm sorry, not excavate, evacuate the bowels. That's what we should do.
I
our
hope
lunch.
no excavation is ever needed there. Ever.
We
It
do
has
excavation.
to-
You know that?
I know the colonoscopy is a big
No,
no.
it's
Enema.
manual fecal disimpaction. I'm not even kidding.
Are you telling me that you put your
I put my finger in and I take the whole stool out. It is an emergency almost. All this old patients, paraplegic patients, Parkinson's patients.
so basically they've lost the motor skills
Completely.
and everything
You
there?
do a CT scan, there's a huge stool ball sitting right there in the rectum. And the emergency room will call you at 1 a.m. in the
I'm
morning.
so glad I'm fasted. No, I'm kidding.
Right,
But yeah,
1
I'm
a.m. in the
sure
morning.
it's very painful.
It's
Yeah.
extremely painful,
Yeah.
and they want to make sure that the bowel is not perforated, it's significantly distended. And before putting a colonoscopy inside, this is the simpler way, because colonoscopy, you put it inside, it might rupture the
Rupture.
colon.
Right.
So perforation is a complication. So once I go at 1 a.m. to manually disimpact, that's what gastroenterologists do.
Tough job, doc.
On the way to the hospital, I called my mom.
Huh.
I said, I'm going to the hospital.
She said, what
She
time?
said, she's already 1 a.m. Wow,
Yeah,
you're so
why-
busy and everything. She called my, I was afternoon here in India.
Right.
She called my mama and says, my son is a very busy practicing gastroenterologist. See what all he's doing.
Mom asked, what is he doing?
I said, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, but
So anyways, so coming back to this
Great,
is that,
constipation, yeah.
we always give fiber.
Water and fiber. Yes.
Always give fiber.
Yeah.
And we have figured out that any gastroenterological problem, IBS, IBD, low fiber is a precipitating factor for most of the symptoms. One of the most common symptoms is hemorrhoids.
Yes.
For hemorrhoids, when you're bleeding,
Correct.
that is because of the constipation, you are
And then moves into fissures.
fissures and everything,
Yeah,
right?
correct. I've lots of clients with
Lots of
problems.
clients.
Yeah.
The treatment for hemorrhoids is fiber. Because once you get rid of the constipation and the colonic motility problem, then there is no strain on the blood vessels in the rectum. Then there is no hemorrhoids. Then there is no bleeding. Nothing. But let's say the hemorrhoids are very advanced and constipation has not been taken care of. Then no matter how much fiber you do, you cannot do. So you do band ligation of the hemorrhoids. But bottom line I'm trying to say is fiber is the bread and butter for us. That's why I have Geo Network. Because Geo fiber. Very bad joke. Very bad joke.
Bad joke, doc. That too, now that they've increased their prices after the mega wedding, you have put your finger on a very painful
Very
pulse.
painful pulse.
Yeah.
So I tell my patient is that every day, gastroenterology recommendation as well is that minimum 25 grams of fiber per day in women. 35 grams of fiber in men. What do you do in your practice?
I'm almost scared to tell you. Okay. See, Doc, I'll tell you very honest. I have read all, if not all, majority of the literature that is created in the form of studies, RCTs, meta-analysis. I follow, apart from you, a lot of people who are big on fiber and very legit, not necessarily with a bias to animal-based or plant-based, because those are very two different conversations. One side says no fiber. But I want to tell you, and when they come to me, they have and let's talk very specifically IBS, IBD, all the spectrum of IBS, IBD. In some cases, it is so bad. The medications give them heart palpitation. They have to go into the ER. They can't tolerate anything. Malabsorption, all of that. So now, when people come to me, this is their line. I have done everything. I have had this condition for 2 years. My first question is, have you visited a doctor? Let me rule out. So I start with ruling out. I say, have you ruled out SIBO with a doctor, leaky gut? Have you ruled out H. pylori? Very common infection, which you cannot solve with nutrition. Okay. I rule out all of this. They say, yes, I've been to the doctor. I don't have this. I don't have this. The doctor said IBD. I have been on medication for 2 years. No matter what I do, it doesn't help resolve me. Now, I also know that as a gastroenterologist, it is hydration and fiber. I actually do the exact opposite, doctor. And I start my elimination protocol. The first thing I take away is raw vegetables. Because I believe that first I need to start letting the person eat something, feel better, give that gut a rest without those cramping and either constipation or diarrhea. And bring them back to basic baseline before I start reintroducing foods that will help them solve the root problem. And I do agree with you that they probably reach this state because of low fiber, and there could be 10,000 reasons. It could be bad lifestyle, it could be junk food, it could be sugar. In many cases, anxiety, mental health is related to, like a IBS condition. So when they come to me, it can be from, like, I'll tell you a case study later, but it can be somebody who suffered it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they live with it, doc. They live with it, saying that, oh, today this happened, I'll pop this. Even further, we know what laxatives, antacids, they further destroy. We know that, you've spoken about it. They put a band-aid on it to the extent, but when they come to me, it's a very bad state that they don't know what to do. So I have to go the other way and say, let me first remove what irritants I know, and this is trial and error. Let me tell you, it is different for different people, because your gut microbiome is like your fingerprint. What I remove for you
will not be the same for me.
Same for me. But having said that, there are some commonalities. Okay, first is raw vegetables, because you need to have a really well programmed, diverse gut microbiome to digest anything raw. That is commonly known in nutrition and in circles of...
It's difficult to digest.
Very difficult to digest, because you have to have robust
Correct.
stomach acid and microbiome to handle that. We already know that there is compromise there. So the first thing is I take away anything that is raw. Okay, so take away that. And mostly vegetables. Then I will... Even before I take away raw vegetables, sugar, starch, junk food, excessive sugar consumption needs to go. Without that, I don't start this protocol, because I tell them that, I mean, one end I'm trying to resolve by removing fiber and doing things. Other end, if you're going to feed yourself bhujia and coke every day, it doesn't work. So that is without a brainer that I drop that, and I tell them to go sugar-free for a very long time. So no processed sugar, not even in tea and coffee when it comes to that sensitivity. The next is raw vegetables. Third, I take away starch, because molecules of sugar that don't sit in that condition. Ultimately, starch is molecules of glucose. They don't allow to sit in that condition when the gut microbiome is that way. Okay, so a lot of sweet potato, a lot of that I take away. Okay. The third thing I take away, which is, I know you will not like it, but it is a third go-to, legume. Most people, the only thing that they tolerate in plant, especially in the lentil legume category, is all forms of moong. They are very good with moong sprouts. Again, not raw, cooked. Moong sprouts cooked, because a lot of people consume moong sprouts raw. The germination procedure actually can cause gas in a lot of people. It can cause flatulence. So I take away the entire category of chole chana rajma. Now you'll ask me what is left. Okay, so
Water.
Yeah, so depending upon who it is, if it's a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, the challenge begins if they are even lactose is problematic, which in many cases they are. When they are intolerant to all of this, sometimes paneer also goes out of the scenario. Okay, then cold milk, a lot of vegetables which are high water content, squash, pumpkins, in Hindi we call them turi and loka. This one, your snake gourd, bottle gourd. These are all vegetables that have a lot of water content. So they, along with moong, if they can take a lot of curd yogurt in their diet, and the one thing that I bring in is fat, like empty stomach coconut oil. So this wisdom I've drawn from our grandmother-based wisdom, or you want to, and I follow a lady called Barbara O'Neill, who's very big in using plants as medicines. Fat is the original laxative. Even in our own culture, we know that when a baby is highly colic and constipated, grandmothers have put some kashaya, they make their own thing, and they'll put it they mix it with breast milk and some ghee. And in chronic condition, they will put it in castor oil.
Castor oil, correct.
Very common in the south, or grandmothers have done it all across.
Correct.
So there is a little bit of we also know that fat, like good fat, coconut oil, MCT oil, ghee, they all kind of act as a lubricant to the entire system. Now, when I'm not able to give fiber, because that is one trick. The other thing is when I make the digestion easy with fermented food and things like vegetables, some rice, I take away wheat as well, by the way. Some fruits. I will always insist, start your morning with ghee water, end your night with ghee water. Over a period of time, they will be able to pass that motions, and the bowel movement becomes easy. Soluble fiber like isabgol to form does help. So I encourage that. If this is vegetarian. If you're a non-vegetarian, nutrition planning becomes slightly easy, because contrary to what you may think, you digest animal protein very well. So if it's an extreme case of IBS, IBD, I take away all these same things. Some people do not tolerate eggs and shellfish, depending upon what is their allergic nature and if that is causing an irritation. But chicken, mutton, mince, fish, soft protein, they are able to handle. So for me, in a meat-based person, the basic nutrition, at least 70% of it I can handle, because there is basic protein. Then I add again yogurt, curd. The one thing that works beautifully in my practice to heal gut, bone broth. So in our cultures, it is there as paya and this and that. So good bone broth made at home with minimal spices. Don't make it like a restaurant version of a bone broth. Just salt, pepper, basic ginger, garlic, basic spices, slow cooked. Bone broth every day. It's like a shot, 200 ml on empty stomach. Has a lot of collagen, has a lot of good protein, good fat that is coming from the animal, and over a period of time. Other things that we can use, kefir, fermented. So like buttermilk, like curd, there is kefir. Now you get coconut kefir, you have grain kefir, you have milk kefir, all available in India. So my whole thing is, first, can I take away the irritant, which are, I know all these things. Now, person to person, one person may not tolerate broccoli, other person may tolerate something. Cruciferous again, they don't tolerate very well in the initial phases. Beans
Cabbage,
and cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, they don't tolerate that in the beginning. So it is all your
Brussels
mushroom.
sprouts is here? Brussels sprouts is here?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
Over there, it's very
So
common.
yeah, very common. So first build their baseline nutrition. Now, this is where animal diets and my advocacy for animal diets come in.
Let me just interfere. What you exactly said, right? This
Did I say something wrong?
No. This is what exactly happens with my GI dietitian in my practice. So I think the difference of angle is, you are talking about IBS patients, right? Where the brain get access is impaired already. In that patient, what we do, the GI dietitian and me, will do something called the low FODMAP diet, as we talked about. FODMAP means fermentable oligomonosaccharides and polyols.
Correct.
Okay. All the thing that you said, raw vegetables, cabbage, cauliflower, everything will come under the low FODMAP.
So I'm doing
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. I'm so glad like an Indian dietitian is doing this, because this is what we are lacking in the US.
Yeah.
An Indian patient comes to me, I said low FODMAP diet, they go to the US dietitian.
They don't
understand Tatka, they don't understand anything. So that's why I trained my GI dietitian, who's an Indian as well. And then we do everything what you're talking about.
Correct.
We take everything out.
Yeah, in same, doc, even sometimes I will not allow, I know the love for millets is great. In this,
You cannot.
You understand where I'm
Yes.
coming from? Brown rice,
Right.
wild rice, millets. Trust me, white rice is the best when you're
Yes.
struggling, actually.
Yes. Because millet will come under that
For
oligodisaccharide thing.
So I do this for 1 month, and this is the client where I am on their I'm on communication with them every day, and I design a score. I have 5 points on which I design a score. Okay, bowel movement, flatulence, feel good, okay, restful sleep. So on on a scale of 1 to 5, they have to tell me, and I will exactly know that day what they've eaten. I anyways monitor it via logs and all of that. Over a period of time, say over 4 weeks, I have gotten, let's say, from 0, which is the poorest score, I have come to 3. Now, which can be 3 weeks, which can be 4 weeks. Now I start reintroduction. Slowly, you have to reintroduce very slowly. Now I will reintroduce, let's say, tuar dal. Okay. Or I will reintroduce brinjal. Okay. Nightshades are again a big irritant in this one. Then I will watch it. Then they'll say, okay, no, yes, bad, ugly. Then I will reintroduce. Now, this is the process of give and take that goes on. And normally, minimum 3 months. It's not a
No,
short.
I think 6 months.
3
to 6
months for me, minimum.
To get
then
things started.
To get things, and at the end of 3 months, the question the audience must be wondering, does that patient go back to normal? May not, depending upon what your definition of normal is. Okay.
And depending upon the damage as well.
And damage as well. Absolutely. Can that person go back to eating almost anything and everything as if nothing happened? Maybe not. Okay. But can your quality of life improve almost by 70%, wherein I have identified all the critical group food categories which are needed for nutrition, and you're able to tolerate at least 2-3, that will happen. Very rare cases, a certain group completely goes out of the window. Very rare, but that time, now the thing is, people tell me now, if I want to eat chole, what do I do? I said, now then it gets into advanced microbiome testing,
Correct.
finding out what pathogens are there, which is an expensive process.
So I have to comment on this.
Sorry, no.
I'm so
please go
sorry.
ahead.
Because this advanced tool testing to check the bacteria, I think since I come to India more frequently because of social media, I am seeing a lot of testing has been done unnecessarily.
I want to say the same thing.
Unnecessarily.
Know your microbiome and know your stool bacteria. And doctor, I'm not saying it is completely useless. I'm saying the outcomes, even after spending that much money, it's not guaranteed to. Like, for example, if I test your fasting insulin for 1,000 rupees in any lab, I know my actionable what I can do to bring your fasting insulin to a single digit number, if it isn't double digit. I know what to do to your triglyceride. I know what to do. In microbiome, it's a world we don't know.
We don't know. It is useful in a particular set of patients.
I'm sure you know.
Where we can only see, okay, this is a group of good bacteria that he has. Maybe this is what the problem is. Then we do interventions. We follow it up 3 months later, see whether there is any change. That is an extremely small number of group patients. We will, let's say 100 patients come to IBS with us. 1 patient will get the testing.
Matlab qualifies to get into that
to get the
kind of
testing.
investigation.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Here, I think everybody is getting it. Because that's why
a lot of influencers, dietitians on social media are talking about this, what is this genome mapping?
What the heck is that?
I have no idea.
That's
23andMe DNA testing doesn't exist for this side of the world. I mean,
that is 2 billion and 3 trillion.
what is this? And then there is a lot of this microbiome testing, genome something, then know your ancestry, and through that.
So this is an evolving thing. And there is a lot of good testing techniques and availabilities happening.
It is there.
But we are not there yet. Maybe 5 years from now, we will be able to identify, okay, so this particular bacteria will be able to do this and everything. But we are definitely not there yet.
Yeah.
So, but I completely agree with, I just interpret you because that stool testing and everything should be thrown out of the window for most of the patients.
Yeah, I think there has to be very critical parameters as to who is a candidate going in for that.
course.
And it can't be anybody with IBS,
problem.
GI problem, gastritis.
Yes.
It can't be anybody. And truthfully, people get upset, maybe fellow people, health professionals. I said, people don't have money to get once in a year a blood test done. They're thinking 10 times about it. Forget that. When there is a serious hospitalization in the family, it's very taxing financially on the family. I mean, to do all these advanced sort of testing, which again has no
Doesn't have
proven outcome. So coming back, so this is what I do. And then over a period of, let's talk about success parameters. Success parameters are mainly 70% of your lifestyle, your quality of life gets better. I will hopefully be able to arrive at, like I said, if we have groups of food like carbohydrates, starches, fruits, protein, fiber, I will be able to arrive at least 3 to 5 foods in each group, give you a universe of nutrition, so to speak, that you can easily eat with a set of do's and don'ts, saying that outside eating, be careful, for example. Or if you're venturing into, you may do well with a chole chaat at home, but a chole bhatura outside may be problematic. So I will conclude that, and they're very happy with that.
Correct,
Because from where they come, first medications go away,
Correct.
then all these crazy symptoms go away. And then this is basically the opposite I do in my practice. So I may not be able to go completely high fiber,
Right.
but in some form.
Yeah. I think, I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is, this is the treatment for IBS. What you're saying is a treatment for IBS. This has been proven. What you're doing is exact same thing. You eliminate the diet and make sure that you don't eliminate for more than 3 months.
Correct.
And then you reintroduce so that you don't lose some micronutrients, and it's like a baby.
Yeah.
Right? You're taking it out and then giving it a new birth.
Yeah.
And then you're slowly reintroducing.
And that elimination, I have realized, because the gut is not confused, there is no so much stress on it.
Correct.
It's like you're slowly healing the gut with things like bone broth and
Correct.
fermented food like curd. When I do sauerkraut and kimchi, I tell them, don't do the high chili version, don't do sensitive things, but reintroduce all of that. Then slowly you rebuild so that the gut can it handle like a cauliflower now? Can it handle tomato now?
Of course. Slowly. And then let's say that you're not able to handle cauliflower.
Certain
Cauliflower
foods
goes out,
yeah.
then comes back again tomato, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
What I was mentioning initially was a patient for a good gut health without a problem. So let's say just constipation can be multiple things. IBS constipation is different.
Yes.
Slow transit GI motility is different.
Correct.
What your approach will not work for slow transit. What you are saying is IBS with symptoms.
Correct.
Bloating, pain,
Correct.
But most commonly, it is the slow transit GI motility and normal people. Normal people, when they come and ask me, okay, how do you improve the gut health? It's fiber.
No, so correct. Probably I'm speaking from my own experience. I get the former, not the latter. I don't get,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
So by experience,
Exactly,
I
right.
get this really severe
GI
IBS, GI patients,
you should come to California for the practice.
I'd love to. I will give you an example of this is a 2022 case. A 36-year-old man contacted me and said, since the age of 14, I have had some sort of IBS, IBD problem. I've been to various doctors. So now he's saying since the age of 14, I don't even want to go into the history of what he was eating. I know that there is considerable damage done. So I said, he says, Sangeetha, my quality of life is so bad. Okay. And a Delhi client, Noida client, that I have not taken a holiday in four years. I don't even travel because the thought of me leaving Noida and reaching the Delhi airport means I have to map where bathrooms are. And if I go out, I have to first figure where is my bathroom? What is if I have a gut problem? What is my insurance? So I don't travel.
We did a study on this, IBS diarrhea, where what is the quality of life compromise that's happening for an IBS diarrhea patient? The control is cancer patients.
Wow.
Okay, control is cancer patients. Believe it or not, IBS diarrhea patients, the quality of life is much worse than cancer patients.
My God, this I didn't know.
Can you imagine?
It is painful for me to hear clients when they say this.
It's when you have the disease, you will be surprised in the way that it completely changes your life. I have seen so many patients like that.
Yeah, so he said, I can't go. So we worked together for 8 months. It was a very slow process. It had reached a point where he couldn't even tolerate normal spices, doctor. So just salt, pepper, haldi. Just salt, pepper, and eggs and meat for almost 6 weeks with bone broth and dairy. Then slowly, with him, I
Reintroduce.
still could arrive at only 15 foods he could eat, but we did blood marker testing and all. All his markers were fine. He gained 3 kgs. The proof of the pudding is this: 11 months later, I get a message of him with his daughter in a beach in Malaysia.
Nice. No, so nice. So nice. Yeah. So
And
it gets improved.
yeah, and visibly he was lanky,
Ah.
weight loss, visibly little muscle mass came, started exercising. So I get these kind of this is very extreme, but somewhere on this spectrum. But I do understand the regular constipation, the slow motility that you're talking about is basically bad nutrition habits.
Bad nutrition, and that happened because of the lack of fiber intake,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So what I promote in my YouTube channel as well is
So
that
look at college students, doctor. Sorry, I've interrupted. Maggie in the afternoon. Where is the fiber? Night one, they'll eat like 2 toasts of bread with some, this one, that save and jam on there. Or it'll be just rice and dal. It starts actually when you get into college life, and unfortunately if you're in a hostel, because at least I think until 10th, we are under the guidance of grandparents, mom and dad. Sorry, you were saying.
no. So what I was saying was, so for in a normal person, if you have fiber of 25 grams of fiber per day, they will not even come to you.
Yeah.
See, that is the difference. That's the difference. So my question to you is, I want, my this group of people where they don't have any GI problems right now, and I don't want them to
have
develop any
anything
GI
in future.
problems.
No, fair enough. Absolutely.
So for that, we recommend 25 grams of fiber per day.
Yeah.
In your practice, in that group of people, 25 grams of fiber is possible, yes or no?
Starts with maybe 15.
15.
Yes, slowly. Okay. See, that group of people, I'm telling you, their eating habits is dominated by ultra processed food. That is what I have seen. Number one, very sedentary lifestyle. We all know that getting sun exposure, going for a walk, exercise is a massive probiotic. If you are doubtful, anytime I'm telling this to the audience, I'm sure you feel a slight bloat, you go for a walk or just do a 15-minute strength training routine, you will suddenly see a change in how your tummy feels. I have experienced this 10,000 times.
The reason is exercise stimulates the production of short chain fatty acid called butyrate
Correct.
in the small intestine, regardless of the diet. It's very important.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Regardless of the diet.
Yeah.
And it has been shown in studies as well.
Correct.
So that's why.
So your question is the people who are normally come to me, very poor habit. The minute I change that to a whole foods diet and come down, see, if they are at 3 and 4 grams, like I told earlier, 25 grams, challenging. I'm telling you, vegetarians don't want to eat 300 grams of vegetables.
So why are they getting only 3 or 4 grams?
Because the eating habit is so poor. We discussed, right? Lots of ordering, lots of Maggie cooking, lots of...
But how about homemade? Even in home, you're saying even regular household.
I don't get under 18-year-olds as much. So it is not them. I'm saying all these about 20, 25.
Yeah, but let's say I'll give you an example. 32-year-old married couple. Okay. They are both working. So you are telling me working married couple.
I can only cook once or twice a week. Rest because of our schedule. My wife travels to New Zealand the other day. I'm on this high whatever thing.
I see.
I don't have time because my wife is on a busy schedule. I'm sleeping at 11 and waking up at 5 to send my kid to school.
I see.
I'm delegated everything to my maid. I don't know what my maid is doing. So it just that busy lifestyle and the ease. Oh, but I do try and order healthy. So they try and do that.
So where do you start from there? So you start with grain, you said.
No, with such people, I have to first give them a solution for their lifestyle. No, you eat this, you eat that is not going to help. I'll say, I'll make life easier for you. Do you have a cook? Give your cook these instructions, okay? Or if you are somebody who can do meal prep every 3 days only, this is how you do your meal prep. This is how you steam your vegetables and airtight it. This is how you pre-marinate your protein and keep it. This is how you do it. Okay, keep these foods stock in your fridge. Strawberries, these are all high in fiber. Orange, okay, take away, donate all the ultra processed food. Now, second thing, can't exercise. It's okay. Your kid is going to school. Then you have about half an hour. Instead of scrolling the phone, can you just walk around a little bit? You have to give them solutions for their lifestyle problems.
And you also say 100 grams of vegetables per meal.
I say at least 250, another 100 to 150 serving is fruit. So fruit and vegetable will hit
Beautiful.
300 to 350.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I go by 10 plant points per day.
Huh.
Right? Any nuts, seeds, vegetables, fruit, everything. But one cannot be repeated. That's what I'm saying. So 2 oranges still 1 plant point, at least based on my thing.
Doc, on social media, you can gamify things. If I gamify with these people, they'll say, my boss is giving me targets. You are giving me targets on plant points now and fiber points.
So in the Gutman challenge, I came up with 5 plant points because I realized that people are not even getting the minimum 5 plant points.
Yes.
That is so bad.
And for me, where my like you gamify, work towards a much larger community, and because I do it with the set of clients, so for the first 3 weeks, I insist I need to see your meal picture. Insist. So when that part of client onboarding, now in that meal pic, I will know how much fiber, what is there. And you won't imagine, even in meat eaters, even when people think I'm very meat forward, which I am, but I will never let like just grilled chicken be there. I say, where are mushrooms? Where is the vegetable? Where is the sauteed vegetable? Where is curd? I said, make it that. So there I get very persuasive. I need more vegetables. Sangeetha, I don't have time for breakfast. It's okay. I said, you eat a cucumber and a carrot in a raita form in office. So I do, because, you know why I do this? When I'm transitioning people from, which is what our diets are, high carb, high sugar diets, to low carb, I'm changing the input, output will change.
Right, yes.
If I don't count for carbohydrates to come from good sources, like vegetables, within 1 week, they will call me and saying, bowel movement not happening, constipation. They're going to tell me that. I already know that. So hydration, water intake, salt, walking,
sleep
and vegetables and fruits. Very important.
So all this will actually help. But the bottom line, what you're trying to say is that once you have the plant points, the gut bacteria gets repopulated and the fiber will come eventually.
Yeah. And then it comes eventually. So in case of IBD, IBS, elimination and adding, like I said, may not be everything on the planet, but your quality of life gets much better. In the other cases where there is general constipation, first give them ways to heal the constipation, which I again do. Ghee water, isabgol, do all of that.
Isabgol is nothing but fiber.
Fiber, correct. So first let us solve that. Take away all your bad habits. In most cases, they don't drink water, doctor.
Right, yeah, of course.
I'm telling you, sometimes it can be as simple as monitoring their water intake.
They drink other water.
And then I will always say, bring in vegetables with water content, get your fiber, then plate monitoring. Show me your plate.
Why hydration helps is while you're drinking the water, what happens is your stomach distance. So that's why I tell all my patients, so 2 liters of water per day is minimum, we say.
Yeah.
And that is very important for all your digestive hormones to work better. So imagine water as a water bed for all your lipase, protease, everything. So it's just like jumping in joy.
Yeah.
And so how do you get 2 liters? Nobody's going to measure the water bottle. That's going to be very difficult. So I say 1 cup before and after each meal. So that's where the problem comes. People say that, or you're diluting the digestive juices.
Yeah,
all those things, right?
Yeah,
so
funny concept.
There is no research to prove that.
Exactly.
But there is research to prove that while you're drinking the water before meals, it distances the stomach. The neurons from the stomach goes to the brain and suppress your appetite stimulation, thinking that your stomach is elongated and full
And
already.
therefore, you may not eat
Eat
as
that
much. Yeah.
So when I grew up, my mom used to say, "Don't drink water, da. You cannot
won't be
eat
able to
anything."
eat.
Now after I've grown
For
up,
children, they always say this. If you drink so much water, what will you eat? They don't realize that is what makes us
Right.
80, 100 kilos later on.
after they're really grown up, they say, "Drink water, da. Don't eat that much."
I remember I used to complain a lot. In young age, I was always plump, doc. So, and I always thought this is my destiny. I was nicely plump. So, mom would say, in the gym எல்லாம் வேணாம், okay, ஒரு glass தண்ணி குடிச்சு பட்னியா படு. பட்னியா தூங்கு.
Right.
ஒரு
drink
வேளை
water, don't eat
வயர
anything.
ஒரு வேளை வயர காய விடு. பரவாயில்ல.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they said it in a certain fashion,
Correct.
but they knew
The concept is that
the
no
concept
intake.
is that yeah. And similarly, my grandmom would say, all the time when you walk into the house from school, don't say I'm hungry. It's not nice. Learn to control your hunger a little bit. There's a lot of wisdom.
Yes.
And to translate in Tamil, she would say, your Tamil audience will know, in the pasi very nalladilla.
Yeah.
There are certain things that come out only.
Yes,
But
exactly.
grandmoms would say that,
Right.
So
That's the first introduction of how do you experience discomfort.
discomfort.
Handle
Yeah,
discomfort.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Yeah, got
Okay,
it.
so
I'm happy I'm somewhere close and
Yeah,
aligned
of course. Hydration is extremely important.
yeah.
And then, so the point is, if you drink 1 cup of 8 ounces before and after each meal, so 3 meals, so you'll get like 6 cups, and then snacks before and after 2 snacks. So you'll get your 8 cups.
Correct.
That'll come to 2 liters.
Correct. And then a little bit comes via watery vegetables
water,
and
yes,
some
yes.
water.
All those are extra.
All those are extra,
Extra,
right?
all those
There's
extra.
water content in
Correct,
food.
everything.
All of that is there.
But this I make a rule. All those water you cannot include in
Yes,
this one.
in this. Correct. Agree.
If it comes, it's as addition.
Correct.
Then I say 1 fruit per each meal. Okay, and then they'll talk, fruit is sugar and everything. So I said, dude, you eat fruit so you don't get sugar. Later. Of course, if you're a diabetic, low glycemic fruits like what you said. Guava is one of my best.
Same here. The crunch has so much satiety in it. And after that, you're done also.
I'm so upset that I'm in California that
You don't get it?
Even if you get it, it is so costly.
Yeah, it's like your avocado. Imagine guava being your avocado.
It's very costly.
Tomorrow I'll send you gift, doc. I'm getting you a guava.
Guava is one of the wonderful,
It is. Very
rich
high
in fiber.
Rich
in fiber, low calorie. And my sister's an endocrinologist.
Yeah.
She said that if I practice endocrinology in India, every patient is going to get guava.
Yeah. No,
My mom says, I have a guava tree at the backyard, we'll sell it.
It's the first in after Indian local berries. Okay, India also has its own local berries.
Is it right? What is local berry?
So jamun is our berry, the
see.
Java plum, which is currently in season. Then we have falsain, it's called in Hindi. They're small, maroonish in color.
I see.
So India has its own version
Is it
of
right?
berries, which unfortunately have disappeared out of major towns.
Oh.
Now that I've gone back to Hyderabad and I have to take a highway road to reach my house, on the highway I see those aunties selling in that no supermarket selling. So Indian berries are my first go-to, and of course strawberry now is there. I still tell people wash strawberries very well, high pesticide content. Then immediately guava, citrus fruit,
Oranges.
Yeah, so these are even standard even in my list. And any other fruit you want to eat, like high fructose and high glycemic index, portion control.
Portion control. So, of course.
Portion, like in a
No, I'll take that back. If you're a normal, okay, if your A1C is normal,
then eat
then
it.
it's okay.
Then okay.
That's okay.
I'm saying only in diabetics.
Pre-diabetes, control.
Control.
Mapala wale, right? Mango, jackfruit, and banana.
The many chiku, custard apple.
Why do they say mapala wale then? That's a very common thing. In Tamil, they say mapala wale, which is mango, banana, and jackfruit.
Because most commonly consumed there.
Mm.
And custard apple actually was it's a wild. It was actually never to be sold.
I see.
Custard apple used to grow like weed in the wild.
I see.
Okay. Later on, somebody found out that this works, but it is very sweet. So a lot of people like I in my childhood used to like it because there was huge entertainment apple out of eating a little and spitting the seed out. Like time pass we used to
They do juice as well, right?
They do juice as well. Very sweet juice.
Very sweet juice.
So that is one of the things that is there. But that I don't sitafal that they call in
Sitafal,
Hindi,
yes,
right?
yes, sitafal.
So
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a wild fruit. Then we figured out that it was. But yeah, if
And
you're healthy,
chiku is very high.
chiku or sapota, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So
I say one fruit per each meal. And then I say one fermented food per day. Has
they are
to be
listening
there.
to you. What is your accounting mechanism with your GI dietitian? Actually, I should ask her. It will be a wonderful chat with her. Some learnings will be there.
So, accountable mechanism is that, see, my consultation takes an hour. That's why I don't see that many patients. I know it's revenue wise, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
The more patients you see, the more revenue. But
Correct.
but I say very less patients. So the first thing I do is to make them understand why am I doing this. And as you know, you must have listened to the podcast where we talked about the 100 trillion gut bacteria. There is something called intercellular connections. Intercellular connections. Follow me here.
Sure.
It's a little bit scientific. Where all the intestines are lined by cells. These cells are closely tied. We call it as jam-packed junction-tight cells. And there is no opening or gap in between at all. And these are all innervated by something called myenteric plexus. Myenteric. My is my. Enteric is intestine. Myenteric. Ennoda enteric.
My intestine. Personal to you.
Personal. Very important. Very important.
Bio-individual, basically.
You have your own neurons supplying your own intestine separately.
Got it.
Very important. That myenteric plexus gets connected to brain.
Okay. Got it.
Let's say there is no brain connection. This will still work. This will still work because of the local chemicals being separated, being produced by the gut bacteria. So that's how strong it is. People say that your gut is a second brain. I have changed that now. Your gut is the first brain.
First brain.
Because it is primitive, it can work even then.
Correct.
So when that is so powerful, again, follow me here slowly. We will break it down if it is difficult. The bacteria along the lining keeps on watching. Okay, the immune cells and the lining of the good gut bacteria keeps on watching what is coming in, what is coming out. Gram-negative bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria is something that you don't want inside your blood. It's a gut bacteria, okay? What happens is, due to all the lifestyle factors we talked about, mainly UPF, ultra-processed food. That's why I always say when you're tearing a packet, you're tearing a piece of your gut. The reason is you're piecing a piece of a gut is exactly in between these two cells. So there is a gap in the connection. So while there is a gap in the connection, there is a delayed connection. And similar to what we talked about, that is where the starting of the delayed signal with slow GI motility happens. So when there's a gap, this gram-negative bacteria is very happy that there is a break in the barrier.
And then that is that leaky gut.
They call leaky gut. Leaky gut is very controversial.
I know. People say there's nothing like this.
Nothing like that. But this is the pathophysiology behind that.
Okay.
So how do we know, right? We talk about all this. How do I know that this is what's happening? When you take the blood of all these people, you see something called LPS, lipopolysaccharides. When get the blood, there's increased amounts of LPS. And where is this LPS coming from? It's the outer membrane of this gram-negative bacteria. Gram-negative gut bacteria.
Wow.
So when the LPS is very high, it's an endotoxin. So we call it as metabolic because of the metabolic eating thing. Endo, within the blood.
Inside.
Toxemia. Metabolic endotoxemia. Okay, so now what happens? There is a toxin in the blood. What does body do?
Inflammation.
All your TNF alpha,
Correct,
IL-12, IL-6, everything is trying to attack this toxin.
Correct.
And they are very successful in attacking the toxin. Then what happens to these inflammatory cytokines? They are thinking that, oh, there is some more is coming in. So let's just stay there. So what happens? They're staying there. So the endotoxins are not coming in, affecting the cells.
Correct.
But same way, because they are staying there, all the hormones, especially insulin, it is also not able to get into the muscle cells.
Got it.
So then the muscle is very starving of insulin. Muscle sends signal to the brain. And brain is saying that, hey, I need glucose, I'm not getting it.
Correct.
Brain sends signal to the pancreas.
Yeah. Produce more.
More insulin.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
And that is why when you check the blood, you have more insulin levels.
And this is not the usual pathophysiology, but this is a separate kind of a but this is the UPF patho.
No. This is what is happening.
This is the
bottom line.
Bottom line, this is it.
This is the bottom
even
line.
Before insulin is being
Everything.
whatever, that is what you're saying.
People talk
Correct.
about insulin resistance.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
That is not important.
Huh.
This is what important. So
Behind even that, this is the process.
Correct.
Basically. Got it.
So what is the treatment?
That's what you said. You largely stop the ultra processed food first, na?
to heal the gap.
First to
So there is no more this metabolic
Got it.
endotoxin. So stop the ultra processed food. But what are we doing? We are giving more insulin.
When you get
Because the glucose level is high, what we do? We give more insulin.
Inject, when the person's
That is the
HbA1c.
worst thing. I mean, we cannot do anything. We have to do. But what does?
Temporary life saving, but doesn't resolve
But the muscles is still starving.
Yeah.
So when you go deep into it,
Right.
I have a beautiful algorithm and a picture with an animation. I have a murukku packet right in my house and in my office.
And then you'll say, this
I
is
ask
what
them
happens.
to eat it. No, seriously, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking.
Really?
I ask them to eat it. I'll ask them, okay, you ate the murukku packet, you tell me what is happening. He will say, okay, it is going into my food pipe, into my stomach. Okay, how is it going from the stomach in the small intestine? Digestion, acid, doctor? Yeah, then there is a animation. So I show them acid, direct. And by the time they see this gap in that function, and they could relate everything down. So if you relate to it, your heart disease, your diabetes, your obesity, your hypertension, your PCOS, everything will boil down to this little thing that is happening over here.
And this then kickstarts the metabolic syndrome process.
Yes.
There's this metabolic endo.
Exactly. Cardiology is talking about heart attack. Endocrinology is talking about diabetes. Gastroenterology is talking about fatty liver.
Interesting. I learned something
But
great today.
everything is tied down to this small little thing because of your UPF. Ultra processed food is the main thing.
Then there could be
Other thing, emulsifiers,
Yeah.
P50, P10 or something. I forgot. But all those additional artificial flavors, everything.
colorings and all of that.
So if you eat one packet of chips, will that cost?
Fine.
No.
Yeah.
It will take 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. No, I've told this to everybody. It's not like today you'll do something and the body will react tomorrow. It's very forgiving that way. The body is superbly forgiving. So I say that it will tell you 2 years, 5 years. It'll come.
But the recovery is also the same.
It's same, yeah.
Depending upon the amount of effort that you put in.
Correct.
So once I say that, then I say, so look at this, guys. The only doctor that you need is me. You don't need anybody else. We'll fix this gap.
Yeah.
And you will be okay.
Right.
So then they'll be eating the murukku, they'll keep the murukku.
They remember this visualization that
No, while eating.
That is hilarious. I think I should also open a physical clinic and try all these
I'm telling you,
techniques.
that is very, very, very powerful.
And have a lot of animation and
Right.
things
I
like that.
have a model, GI model.
Lovely.
It's like a projection model.
Yeah, I understood. So they can actually see instead of
what's
just
going
we
on.
are talking.
Correct. And I have all the evidence as well. So some educated people, of course, they want a thing. I'll show them. Look at this metabolic endotoxemia. LPS is there right here.
Yeah.
And look at all those things. So this is the bottom line. So
Metabolic
toxemia.
Toxemia. I'm going to research
Endotoxemia.
this.
Yeah, please do. So then what happens is that is why. So then they ask me, okay, so I'll stop the UPF. Everything will be done.
Yeah.
No. You need good gut bacteria to develop butyrate. to seal the gap.
Butyrate, yeah.
And that is why the fermented food is absolutely critical.
Correct.
And they will say, how long I should take? I said 2-3 years. Every day? Yes, every day. Which food? Depending upon your local ethnicity.
Correct.
If you're Punjabi, kanji. Gujarati, dokla.
Everybody has it. Yeah.
Orissa, enduripita.
Yeah.
Kerala, appam. Tamil Nadu, dosa, Italy.
Yeah.
Assam,
Payasoru is also
Palayasur. Assam, kurisa. You know what kurisa is?
I've heard it from you only on your other broadcast. I haven't tried it yet.
Fermented bamboo shoot.
Bamboo
Manipur, there is Hawaii jar. So, India is one of a wonderful country where there are fermented
That's what there are
dishes.
versions of all of this in our own
Thing
regional
as well.
cuisine.
So, I say always one fermented food per day, one fruit per meal, and of course, fasting we talked about.
I have a doubt, doctor. Do you really think like a dhokla is comparable to a payasoru? I have always thought that the power in the fermentation process of the payasoru or kanji, leftover rice, which is, and then you add buttermilk and then whatever. That profile, just like how dhokla may not be the same as kimchi or sauerkraut.
Right. See, the answer is I don't know.
Yeah,
Nobody
okay.
knows. Nobody knows because
I have my doubt if it's the same, but I'm sure both are helpful.
I'll tell you, nobody can find out. The only person who can find out is you.
Because it is...
It is individualized, right?
Right.
A dhokla can be good for me, but not for you.
Yeah.
So how do we know? So when you introduce fermented food, you cannot introduce multiple things at the same time.
Correct.
You have to introduce one thing and then see whether you are seeing any improvement
Changes,
in your GSM.
Sure.
So bowel movement is one of the most important.
The most important ritual in the morning is not meditation or anything, but is to have a proper bowel
If you are
movement.
sitting in a toilet bowl for more than 5 minutes
Yeah.
without anything happening, nothing is going to happen. Get out.
We are doing poop jokes now.
From a gastroenterologist, I'm telling you, get out. It's not good for you. It's not good for you.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then people always, how do I know a good stool? Don't do the stool testing. Just look at your stool, measure, consistency and everything.
Yeah.
The more effort that you put in to get the stool out, the more effort that you'll be seeing the doctors.
Yeah.
So diet is, that's why they say food is medicine.
Correct.
Food is medicine.
Correct.
So that is why I focused on gut bacteria.
Got it.
Everywhere I go, I talk about gut.
Yeah.
I always have a famous saying in Tamil, just unga gut kattu irukkanum.
No. Correct.
Correct. So I have a strong feeling. I also talked in an endocrinology conference. People were like, what are you talking about? I said, if somebody does this for 2 to 3 years, all endocrinologists will be out of practice. All IVF centers will be closed. And all cardiologists will have a better quality of life.
Yeah. True.
They don't have to come with the middle of the night. It takes time. It takes patience. It needs to understand the pathophysiology behind it.
Yeah. But I think one of the best things that you have done, and I have really not heard this from mainstream doctors really. You have, knowing very well your limitations as a medical professional and a gastroenterologist, you have taken the effort to set up a team. Because, doc, this is what you're telling. You need another team to constantly follow up.
Of course.
I don't see a lot of mainstream cardiologists. Imagine if every endocrinologist or every cardiologist, or at least the ones who have resources, had their own team.
Yes.
Maybe one researcher and
Yes.
one like you have a GI dietitian, one has a diabetes educator.
Correct.
That
No,
story.
that is what we need. That is what the need.
The doctor is, even if they are like you and be generous and not care about revenue and all of that, great. And spend 1 hour, the skill required to do the other part, looking at diet plans, sending diet plans, doing follow-ups, addressing patient queries or troubleshooting. This is not your job. There has to be somebody else who does it.
Of course.
That
We don't have time.
You don't have time, and that is not what you're supposed to. That is where dietitians, counselors, dietitians who can become lifestyle counselors, that comes in, and that is such a... See, you know what happens? I'll tell you. Good doctor friends of mine from Twitter will refer me. Okay? Unfortunately, the value of a dietitian who is able to understand metabolic diseases, people don't have that value. The minimum I say, hey, let's say I'm charging 500 rupees for a consultation. They're like, I don't want to talk to her. What is she going to give me? They don't even come back. They don't come back. Doctors are nice. The neurologists, cardiologists refer on Twitter. They'll send me a message. They'll say, hey, we referred a client. The client, we referred a patient. The patient will say, hi, so-and-so doctor referred you. I say, yeah, this is the consultation process. The reason I also look at consultation is I need to spend 1 hour with you.
Yeah, of course.
Your family history, your food history, your bowel movement history,
Your context.
everything, right? But they're like,
Yeah.
I have to eat food.
So-
They're not understanding where it's going. So I feel, imagine if there was this entire setup like what you have done.
No, it's not I have not. It's just that gastroenterology, let's say any book, at the end of treatment for any disease is multidisciplinary management.
But so are most non-communicable diseases, doctor.
I'm just so.
I mean,
yeah, of course.
Don't you think so?
Of course. I mean, now NCD is happening because of gastroenterology.
Huh. Because you're putting unnecessary things into your stomach.
Yeah, exactly. NCD should not be NCD at all. It should be GUT. Non-communicable diseases.
Oh, God.
So in gastroenterology, it's multidisciplinary management. In an academic center, you have a gastroenterologist, you have a nutritionist, you have a psychologist, you have a cognitive behavioral therapist, you have advanced endoscopy people, general GI people, motility. Can you imagine? There is a doctor who just
Looks at motility
into the
expert.
stomach alone. Motility
Wow.
alone. So body is complex.
Yeah.
And people are fighting vegetarian is better, non-vegetarian is
Yeah.
better. Right?
Yeah.
There's
The
more.
most useless fight on the
There's
planet.
more to it. And it is just that you're absolutely right. Multidisciplinary management is the way to go. And I think it's slowly catching up.
Yeah.
Slowly catching up. I'm so glad that you're having so much knowledge to. I don't think even my GI dietitian, but other dietitians will not be able to handle this conversation.
Thank you, doctor.
I'm not bragging myself, but I'm just saying that it
No,
takes a
obviously,
lot of.
your level.
But this is what I do, right?
Yeah,
I try.
Yeah,
I study this. I try this.
Yeah, but my experience, doc. Obviously, I told you I self-learned, then I certified myself, and I get a lot of flack that I'm a 6 months nutrition person versus a RD. I'm saying the more important thing is to learn. You can learn from anywhere.
Every day we are learning.
You're learning every day.
Every day.
Second is what experience on the job gives you. Then, like I said, the reason I don't have time to probably do Instagram, not my primary, is every day I spend 1.5 hours in an area of my interest. Today it could be gut. That gut is never ending because I'm really telling you, every alternate person comes to me on some spectrum of IBD. It's IBS or constipation or heartburn, so I cannot ignore that, and that is really emerging. Second is personal interest is to look at supplementation. That is just no. So the thing is, it is the variety of work that you do with the number of people when they present to you with certain conditions, and then you start looking at the literature.
of course.
Then you start looking at certain case studies that have been probably not in India, elsewhere.
Correct.
Then you change that and you
Right.
adapt that. Then you
Right.
play it safe and see. So
Correct.
that is how I have come this far, really.
Right, of course. And patient experience also matters.
Yeah,
The more patients you see, you will be able
More
to see
clients,
the profile.
you see a different profile.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. I'm actually in a better state because even though I practice in US, my practice has been changed to Indian community. So I have this wonderful mix of just NRIs alone.
Yeah.
NRIs, non-resident Indian community, is my patient. So everybody has the same problem. And everybody has the same background. So I'm able to see as soon
And
as
it's beautiful you can draw so many patterns.
so many patterns.
So
as soon
many
as,
patterns. And that makes solution providing slightly faster, right?
As soon as a patient walks in, I know. Okay, so this patient needs mental health thing. This patient needs GI. So, so you're absolutely right. I think multidisciplinary management is the way to go. Bottom line for everything is the discussion started because the 25 grams of fiber that I am adding, and then 1 fruit per day, per meal, and 1 fermentation per day, All this is boiling down to sealing this gap, preventing the translocation to decrease the toxin, decrease the inflammation, get the inflammation out, get the insulin work again. This is the pathway. And this pathway takes time.
Correct. Can't be overnight, no? It
Can
won't
be
happen.
overnight. Can be
Yeah.
overnight. Can be overnight. We talked about the belly fat.
Yes, Ben.
The reason for visceral fat for Indian people is that our abdominal compartment is smaller. The fat gets accumulated beneath the skin. It's called subcutaneous tissue, subcutaneous fat. This amount of fat that a Indian person can hold in that compartment is very small.
I've also read and researched a second aspect, that the size of our fat cells in South Asians and in Indians is also smaller.
I see. I didn't know.
So when I follow Professor Ben Bickman's work, who does a lot on insulin and fat tissues, a scientist, metabolic scientist. So there are two ways. The second aspect is South Asian communities, Malaysians, Filipinos, Indians, okay? The number of fat cells we have is fewer than our Caucasian counterpart. And the ability of our fat cells to hypertrophy, which is expand, is also limited. Which is again not the problem in our Caucasian brothers and sisters, which is probably what you're saying. Combined with this is the West in America, they can be 20 kgs overweight and not yet develop diabetes. And in India, you can be 3 kgs and 5 kgs and develop just that pot belly and have lean arms and legs and have elevated HbA1c levels.
Yes.
And I think this concept is described as, it's called the personal fat threshold. It's a very, that's a very interesting concept. So not only is our capacity to store subcutaneous fat less, the ability for us to expand our fat cells and become therefore insulin resistant and spill over it happens quicker.
It's quicker. What you might be saying might be true because the fat cells not expanding, the fat cells are small and everything might be true because I know that there is a hormone called adiponectin.
Yes.
Adiponectin is a hormone secreted by these fat cells.
Correct.
Adiponectin is good for us because whenever there is more fat, it regulates, it increases the transmembrane fatty reflex and makes sure that the cholesterol levels are the same level. But Indians have a lower adiponectin level compared to other ethnicity.
That's because the number of fat cells.
Could be.
See, the reverse, I can tell you. And therefore, the expansion is also whatever.
Correct. So coming back to the point we discussed that, we are already have increases of belly fat.
Correct.
More carbs. And also you mentioned about, other fat, increased calories, the way we cook calories. Where is it going to go? Belly fat.
Correct.
So again, the bottom line with all this discussion is, I think moderation has to play a role significantly in all aspects.
No, fair enough. Absolutely. I don't think there is a need to emulate any particular trend just because it's a trend.
So now I'm going to complete this discussion.
Sure. Let's complete. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying complete the discussion. This segment by promoting plan forward diet.
Sure.
Okay, I'll put in my argument. So you remember I told you about this gut cells thing.
Yes.
Okay. So this gut cells, sealing of the gut cells will need fiber. And you and me know that meat doesn't have fiber. Our counter argument to the meat people is that is a good source of protein. So we're already protein deficient. So why are we avoiding meat? Of course, you eat meat, it's a good source of protein. So my plan forward diet is, approach is, I don't care about the protein that much as long as your gut is good. So yes, protein is important as well. But the priority, according to me, will be second as long as your gut health is good. Because I have a strong feeling that the hormones will make sure that your appetite is controlled in such a way that you will get the protein by taking mindful decisions. That is my argument. So to get that junction sealed, you need more fiber. So my argument is, I always go by, I call it as Dr. Palitarian diet, where it is not vegetarian, non-vegetarian. It is a Dr. Palitarian where you take 80% is plant. The reason being is that, hoping that with that 80%, you will get your 25 grams of fiber. The remaining 20%, I really don't mind you eat red meat. It's okay. Yeah, it's not going to cost that much amount if you really limit yourself to the remaining 20%. That is what my argument is.
So, Doctor, I understand where you're coming from. Now, as a nutritionist, people come to me with various objectives. Okay. And like you rightly said, my current challenge, actually, if you see, there is a protein challenge and there is a fiber challenge. These two challenges coexist. Okay. Now, for me, the fiber challenge is easy to do because there is a fair amount of acceptance. Let's look at how
Practically.
how it works, right? So nobody, there is only one part of the thing who's saying plants are trying to kill you. No, majority of the people, 99.99% of discerning people know that there may be some plants they can't tolerate, but in general, vegetables and fruits are good for you. For me to address the fiber problem so that your objective or common objective as healthcare professionals, that the gut should be protected.
Yes.
Protect your gut, okay? Feed your gut, protect your gut. That is easier for me to do because there are no misconceptions there. There is agreement there. There is acceptance there. For the past 100 years, you have heard eat more fruits and vegetables,
Yes.
eat more fruits and vegetables, eat more fruit. So the challenge is, how do I just make it convenient and give ideas to people and keep reminding them you're not like what you do with plant protein and fiber points. For plant points. I say like, all I have to say is get more, get more, get more. The protein discussion is a bit of a different discussion because let me tell you the other side of people who come to me. Large amount of misconception as to what is quality protein. Just go to YouTube and type protein deficiency in India. You will get at least 50 videos that say that the primary home maker, the wife, the mother, they don't even understand the concept of protein. Okay. Number 3, lack of quality protein and animal protein causing massive levels of anemia, stunting.
Yes, of
when
course.
we talk about public
Yes,
health.
yes.
Okay.
Protein, energy, malnutrition.
Yes. Next, if you look at the biggest complaint 40 plus year olds, whether men or women, come to me is it's called undiagnosed fatigue. Psychosomatic joint pains. Okay. It's not psychosomatic. There is. Okay. So joint pain, fatigue, not being able to get up and even walk 20. I kid you not. Okay. Muscle decline. Okay. Being overweight and not consuming enough protein, largely falling over carbs. This is not a fiber problem. This is eating carbs, okay, and gaining weight and ultra-processed food. Then doctors giving them 6 months time to say, lose 10 kgs, else knee replacement. For me, therefore, these two things become very important. Because now, we know that if there is no adequate protein, there is sarcopenia, there is bone density loss. The greatest,
Yes.
I think the
Fractures.
greatest, yes, the mortality in older people is once they fall, they are unable to get up.
Right. Hip fractures is one of the main things.
Exactly. How many times in India I have heard my grandfather fell in the bathroom and that was it. He never recovered from that fall.
Women mainly.
Women, right? So all of this, and then let me give you one more very important reason. We spoke about Indian population having a smaller abdominal capacity and the personal fat threshold level. Let me tell you one more thing in Indian population. Compared to many other ethnicities, we have lower muscle mass. Documented.
By birth.
It's a genetic phenotype we have. There are many theories around it. The theory is that we were around tropical areas, so we grew agriculture produce, then we grew in population, so our food became more agriculture based. There is one theory by Dr. Manoshi Bhattacharya. I wish you interview her. I'm happy to do the introductions. Very well known doctor and a food historian and researcher.
Yeah.
So her hypothesis, which has been validated many times, 300 years of colonial rule, 5 to 7 famines shifted, and the taxing of the common people by the Raj rule. They took away meat, they took away livestock, gave us back grain. All the famine led us to hoarding, which over a period of probably 1,000 years, including the Raj, and therefore how our diets developed to become very mushy. Khichdi, everything is mushy because cheaper, large amount of calories can be consumed easily because we don't know when our next calorie will coming because of this history of 5 famines. So Indians have a lower muscle mass. Now, double whammy. Easier is it because we have lower muscle mass or visceral fat
That is high.
high? So,
Or the other way around.
or the other way. Now, we can't do anything about our adipose tissue, but we can do something about our muscle mass, right? The number one thing we do is give adequate protein so that you can at least maintain it and not continuously lose it with the lack of protein. Second, you can control your calories and follow a rationed carbohydrate diet and all of that and don't gain waist circumference. Third thing, if you're open and if you do strength training, like you've done the 100-day Gutman challenge, because I've seen your podcast. You lost weight, but you realized your body muscle mass.
Correct. I was completely gone.
You were
I did
shocked.
not preserve it. I was shocked.
You did not preserve it because probably the protein, your focus was on
Of course.
many things. And given the fact that we come from this ethnicity, we are probably losing muscle mass at a greater rate. So, this is my reason to focus on protein in a heavier manner for longevity, for muscle health, for better glucose disposal. At the same time, handle the easier challenge of eat dal, eat fiber.
So let me ask you this.
I balance it.
I got wonderful
You got
argument.
the gist, right?
Wonderful discussion. Let's say I'm a patient to you, okay? And we're not talking about vegetarian. I'm open to options.
Yeah.
What percentage that you say that I should be non-veg?
I will give you all the range and I say rotate it. That's what I do. Okay. Now let's say you're a meat eater who eats everything.
Yes. Fish.
Okay.
White.
I will tell you there are 21 meals in a week. Rotate everything. Eggs, Greek yogurt, paneer, chicken, fish, red meat. Rotate, na? 7, 7, 7. Okay. Now use your lentils and legumes as great sources of complex carbohydrate and fiber. So I've added in a little more fiber, which is above the root, fruits and vegetables. You're very healthy, no other problem. Start alternating between grain, potato, sweet potato. Alternate as good carb sources. With all of this, if you train, now add another 150 grams of fruits, dairy here and there, curd. I think that is a decent approach to take. So I never say, I may personally prefer to eat a lot of animal source protein, but
you also take that extra step to make sure your fiber is okay.
I do that, and I have.
So,
there is never a meal without fermented food on my plate.
I see.
Next time I'll start posting if you follow me on Instagram so that I show you. But I post on Twitter. There is sauerkraut. There is kimchi I make at home. There are pickled vegetables. There is Greek yogurt every day there. There will be some salad, cucumber. I do not do... Only when I'm in a hurry, you will ever find just meat and maybe some sriracha sauce. But even then, after that, I'm eating Greek yogurt and something. So this is my approach we were discussing to both protein. And so if you're somebody who is open to everything, the best way to rotate your protein, get the best of the both worlds, use plant protein as great fiber sources and for all the other micronutrients that it brings in. Use vegetables again for antioxidants and things like that. And your nutrition is complete.
Super. I'm realizing the more I speak to you and speak to everybody else, there's no one size fits all for
Absolutely
anybody.
not, doc.
So my 80-20 rule will work greatly in a mass community health education where many people think that 80% is plant-based, maybe at least I should include more plant points. So I'll get the fiber. Okay, 20% meat is okay, then maybe I'll get the protein somehow. But I completely agree with you that if that particular patient is protein deficient or like losing muscle mass, it should be animal forward.
Yeah. So great insight there. When you are educating masses, you need them to finish A, B, C, D first. Okay. I'm not saying that the masses A, B, C, D is not protein. But at least it is to include a large amount of plant food which is more accessible.
Correct.
Once they finish their A, B, C, D, E, then we can go to words and say, now, okay, include, because let me get at the ground of this. When you talk about mass public health awareness, at a personal level, I'm looking at one person. You are probably talking to 35,000 people at a go. Correct?
Yes.
For me, it is one person. So my resolve is as per that person. I'm on to one-on-one consult. And as a content creator also, I talk bio-individuality, which is what is good for you.
Yes.
Now, let's shift this little bit to saying that to address the accessibility and affordability of animal protein, I alone, you alone can't do it. The entire, because protein is the most expensive component of the macronutrients. Fiber, even a tier 3 person, we struggle with buying vegetables in urban India. Their only bhindi is 110 kilos. In rural, in tier 1, tier 2, vegetables are actually cheaper. Even lentils are probably cheaper. There is probably still a kirana system there. There is probably mom and pop stores there where you get credit there. In some rations, PDS, public distribution system, dal is available. Okay. Now imagine if I, from a mass level, have to tell people, get your protein in a sensitive culture like India, where the cheapest form of protein has been banned. Beef is the cheapest form in India. Let's think in that angle.
Beef is the cheapest form.
Cheapest. It's 400 rupees a kg.
So compared to chicken, beef is cheapest. Almost.
For the nutrition and the likability from certain communities, almost there. Okay. Now, if I have to, if at a mass level, which you do, which I don't do, if I have to tell people, which is a question everybody asks me even on Twitter, people dal and rice is becoming a problem. They're not including enough plant points. More ultra processed food is penetrating into tier 2, tier 3 cities. How will people afford protein? Because protein is the most expensive macronutrient. Now that is something needs to be done at a policy level. Policy level, which starts within municipal schools. Don't have agendas. Let children have eggs and at least chicken.
What is happening? No eggs in school? No,
depending upon...
In Tamil Nadu, there's eggs in school.
It depends upon which party is ruling the state.
Is that right? So certain states, they don't have eggs in the school.
If there is a lot of right-wing...
is that right?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Then that is going to be protein deficient to start with.
Exactly. So don't bring in your religious-based values. Nutritionists devoid of these values, right?
You better provide good vegetarian source of protein.
Then give paneer.
Paneer, yeah.
Please let there be a dairy, whatever, to whatever. Not at least children.
Why is that not happening? Expensive. Paneer is expensive.
Dairy protein is expensive. Paneer is even more expensive by gram and per protein than egg.
Wow.
And if you have to do it at the mass.
That cannot be done.
So I think a whole food plant forward with some animal-based food works for public health messaging to elevate the awareness and the consciousness of people.
Yes.
But then when you come to individuals like me for personalized health, then it is up to what you need to do. Or in general, when I talk about protein, it's like, don't have misconceptions.
Right.
If you can afford it, I talk to the affordable, largely people who afford it. There's a difference. So I said, you people at least don't have misconceptions around protein, on how much you need and do it. And I also do a lot of content on Twitter as to how you can cheaply get it. Like everything doesn't have to be mutton. Minced chicken is cheaper.
Yes.
Organ meat is cheaper if you can handle it. So
what is organ meat?
Basically, we have muscle meat,
the liver,
spleen. You have boti, intestine.
From where? From cow?
No, don't even talk about cow, please. So usually it is beef or buffalo or...
This is like self-stabbing.
No, please. I have been abused enough on Twitter for putting... by mistake, I went to Kerala and put some beef picture.
I see.
They've called me all sorts of demon names in the Hindu mythology. So I'm saying it comes from mutton largely. You will be surprised how much organ meat culture is there in all 3 states down. So Tamil Nadu and this one, Kerala, call it talakari.
Yes.
You've heard of it?
Yes, talakari, yes.
In South, in Telangana, in the Rayalaseema side, they call it talakai curry.
That's the head of...
head of a
lamb.
goat.
Goat.
Then you have val korumbu,
Tail.
tail. Okay. So toka pulusu. Toka pulusu in Telugu is toka is tail. Pulusu is liquid. So cultures. So again, I talk a little bit of organ meat because the people who don't have a lot of resources financially, their nutrition gets complete by inclusion of organ meat twice or thrice in a week because they are powerhouses of micronutrients.
Yes.
They don't go and test for zinc and
Right.
vitamin B12. So I think this nuance somewhere is so interesting. I completely get your point when I say, when I talk to large populations, I want to be plant forward because that's healthier. 100% true. Because otherwise 80% of population is eating chips and biscuits. So please come to dal and vegetables.
Right. Of course.
I completely get that.
Of course. And there's also one more study, and we'll wrap it up after this, where the reason I keep on talking about the junction is once the junction is tight, the brain-gut axis gets activated.
This gap you're saying,
the
this
gap,
gap
I'm
is
sorry.
closed.
The gap lining the intestine.
Yeah.
It's because of your UPF, your high carbs,
Emulsifiers,
all-purpose flour.
all-purpose
Maida.
Okay.
Maida is one of the main thing as well. They call it all-purpose flour over there. So that increases the gap. Let's say we remove all this and then we give more fiber, fermented. We fix this. The brain-gut axis gets stronger. When it gets stronger, the connection of the gut over the decision-making capacity of your appetite stimulation center gets stronger. What I mean by that is, it's philosophical. Okay?
No.
You will have the energy and you'll be more productive enough to at least, I mean, in a population level I can talk, you will not be fatigued that much, that you'll have the energy to understand what you need and what you don't need, and you will start choosing foods that you need. Now what is happening is you're already fatigued. You don't have the energy to think about what is healthy food, what is unhealthy food. All you're thinking about is, I'm hungry, I will eat whatever I want. And how do I know that this brain-gut connection is very stronger? Is based on the neurochemical that is being secreted by the gut bacteria, which is being secreted at the same chemical at the hypothalamus and the NTS level.
Wow.
Which is absolutely mind-blowing.
Amazing. And this is, we know very little, right?
Very little. We are just tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. This is just, we are coming to know very little. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. A patient eating pizza has more dopamine level at the intestinal bacteria, which is creating the connection to the brain to secrete more dopamine at the brain level to order more pizza.
Yeah.
Right? The same thing can be repeated with dal or with
A
Brussels
healthy
sprouts,
habit building, build that
building,
neuroplasticity.
with broccoli or something, whatever you want. But it takes 3 months. It takes 3 months. Because
Would you say that the pizza takes faster because of the hyperpalatability?
Yes, because you crave more. You crave more.
Let's say
That is why when a
the
kid
need
is...
for me to eat healthy may take 3 to 6 months if I start introducing healthy food. But the need for you to order pizza can happen within a week.
Correct.
All good habits take time.
Within 4 to 6 weeks.
Nothing comes easy.
That is why when a kid is saying that I don't want broccoli, I'm not eating all this,
Reinforce it.
it will take time, but it will come. And once it's stronger, it forms
It
stronger.
almost behaves like second skin, which is what we all do after our own experience. And by repeatedly choosing the right food, you almost build your gut in such a way.
So the...
Like, I can't, Doc, I'm not saying this, like, it's not a lie. Every time I eat a pizza, and people may say, what a sensitive gut. It's not sensitive. It is some regret I have because something doesn't feel right.
Of course. You don't have the gut bacteria to digest. That's exactly happened
And
with
then
my wife.
I'll keep whining and say, what? Stomach feels weird. Stomach feels, okay, let me fast 24 hours. Ultimately, that will be the answer.
My wife, exactly the same thing. She cannot eat pani puri, pilbul because she's just so clean
Yeah.
in gut that for me the same thing happened when I was fasting. I eat everything. So
You allow little bit of
I eat
toxin
I little bit of toxic everything.
And maybe that's a good idea. Little bit
Little
somewhere
bit of
here
toxic.
and there you should.
I'm very good in portion control.
Ah.
I'll call up the portion control. But in the fasting overnight, one day I went to the hospital on call and I was so good. My 9:30 to 7:30, I've been doing it for 4-5 years. All right. One day, emergency call. I forgot to eat the dinner with protein fiber. Something happened. I ate some dosa, something, and I didn't work. I was hungry at 1 a.m.
In the night.
In the night because I went to the hospital to do
got
an
it,
emergency procedure. 1 a.m. There I went to the doctor's lounge. I ate a bread with the.
Butter or some
It's
spread.
not unhealthy. It is peanut butter.
Okay.
Peanut butter.
Yeah,
it could
not
be
bad.
not bad at all.
Yeah.
I didn't eat chips. Chips was there as well. I didn't
okay.
eat chips. I did the procedure. On the way to the house, I threw up.
Yeah.
I threw up. And I realized that, okay, so my body is so adjusted.
Yeah. But there is a different school of thought which my friends taunt me. Says you go out for a 10-day trip and you have to eat some ugly food. Looks like you're going to have a problem. I said, probably yes. Is that a possibility?
Yes.
It is a possibility,
Of
right?
course. But you'll keep eating that. You don't have a choice.
Ha.
So you'll keep eating that. Your gut bacteria will come back for the bad ones. So now when I talked about the emotional control of the appetite center, it's exactly what I'm talking about. That your cravings will come down. You keep on mentioning the hyperpalatable foods.
Yeah.
Remember the junction got widened because of the ultra processed food of Maida. And why are you eating it? Because your brain is asking you to eat it.
Correct.
Even if going one step beyond, if you control the brain, you will not eat the UPF.
Yeah. Now I have figured out when I travel, even if I don't get like good restaurants and all, if I'm at dhabas, I know curd, nuts, 10 things I'll carry. I can't go wrong with an idli. Not bad at all.
Right.
I won't go wrong with maybe some curd. Okay. So I have made my peace with all of this. Even dal rice is okay.
Right.
That's also okay. Right. I will not do like very gravy item. That is my downfall.
Right.
Gravy.
Okay.
Gravy outside.
I don't think I'll have a better guess than you to explain everything what I did right now. So I'll just put a summary for everything.
Sure. No, let's wrap up.
Okay,
also.
so that
Had great fun.
so that you will understand what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely, Doc.
So we'll go backtracking.
Okay.
We'll go backtracking and we will find the
Action points.
one action point. And then we talked so much that
For this episode, right? Abhi, whatever.
yes. No, not for this episode. I'm telling about the formation of NCD, non-communicable diseases.
Right.
I'm going to go one by one. Okay.
Right, done.
So choose a non-communicable disease.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Okay.
Everybody.
So we have diabetes.
Yes.
Okay. Diabetes is what is happening because insulin is not working.
Properly. Yes.
And we talked about there are so much insulin,
Yes.
but insulin is not working.
Yes.
Why it is not working? Because it is not getting into the muscle.
The receptors are insensitive.
Or insensitive.
Yes.
Okay. Why is it not getting into the muscle? Because that receptors are being blocked by this inflammation.
Correct.
Where is this inflammation? Where is it started? It's because of the endotoxins that is in the blood.
Correct. How did that happen?
How did that happen? Because of the LPS, lipopolysaccharides, of the outer membrane of the gram-negative bacteria, gut bacteria. From there, how did the gut bacteria came into the blood? Intestines leaked into the blood.
Right.
How do the intestines leak into the blood? Intestine is supposed to be very strong. There is a small gap.
Correct.
Why did that gap happen?
Widen? Why did the gap
Why did the gap widen? Because of the
Ultra-processed
ultra-processed food, Maida and everything.
Yeah.
Why did you eat UPF and Maida to start with? Because your brain wanted the cravings to stimulate.
Right.
Why is the brain craving? Because your brain gut axis is not working. So then what is the final answer? Your gut.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That is a wrap, folks.
Exactly.
Okay?
That's a wrap, folks.
That's a wrap. It all starts with what you're putting in your mouth because that is where it ultimately goes and everything triggers from there.
Exactly.
So don't look for short-term solutions for anything. Eat healthy. Be plant forward or animal inclusive. Be animal inclusive or plant forward. Important is that you understand nutrition. Okay. Great.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Dr.
Wonderful.
Pal. I've had such an awesome time and it's great I could bounce a lot of my pushback on red
Yes.
meat, and we could really have this conversation. Sometimes it's very difficult to ask questions.
Right.
No,
No, it was a
as
very
as
healthy discussion. Very healthy discussion. I think the bottom line is any nutrition advice coming out is not one size fits all.
100%.
You need to see where is that person coming to, which community is being addressed,
Yeah.
and whether you belong to that community or
And that's a human being. You are not designing a diet for 30 people for the sake of, in a metabolic ward, for the sake of research. That diet outcome will be very different when I'm talking to a real Sangeetha or a real Dr. Pal in the real world with a lot of real challenges, real issues, real what is in their gut, outside their gut, right? So yes, it just cannot be a one size fit all.
Yes.
Emotional motivations, behavioral patterns, all of it matter.
all of it matters.
All of it matter.
All of it matters. So, what is the final take on this?
The final take is I'm going to end my fast, doctor,
Yes, it has been 3 hours.
and and go and satisfy my gut by eating some grilled chicken and satisfy the reason for me to be here by including a massive portion of broccoli along
Yes,
with
of course.
my fasting is done. Fiber I will do. What is the third? Oh, fermentation. One curd also I'll have.
Exactly. So that you'll have good gut feeling.
Yes.
And
I have
welcome
a
to
great
Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal.
Thank you, doctor. Amazing.
Super. That was a wonderful episode. I learned a lot. I'm sure you learned a lot as well. I really want you to make sure that the discussion that we had, if at all there are some points that you have noted, I really want you to take some time, understand what those points are, see whether that is applicable to your life. And if it is, please write down in the comment section in terms of what you learned as usual, so that that gets registered in the mind. The more you put writing and writing in words, that thought process gets registered a lot more, and there are multiple research to prove that as well. So I'm hoping that the techniques that we discussed will be implemented in your daily lifestyle as well. Thank you so much for all your support. The whole goal is to make this podcast a real health podcast with credible information coming out, so that you can pick and choose your lifestyle based on the recommendation that is discussed. We have 2 new YouTube channels, Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal Shorts and Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal Clips. These are all shorter versions of the hour-long podcast episodes to highlight the salient features. These are all 8 to 10 minute long, or sometimes 1 minute long for the reel. Please consider subscribing and extend your support. We'll make sure that we'll provide the high quality content to you by giving you a wide variety of input from multiple medical experts. In case if you want to listen this in audio format while you're commuting or while you're driving, please check us out in Spotify with the name Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal, and please consider extending your support by subscribing to that channel as well. As usual, it is one belly at a time. It is absolutely important. I'll see you in the next video.